This should be fun. Hello and welcome. Since the lockdown began, nature has been given a rest. It's never looked more beautiful. Our air is cleaner than it's been for years. Our skies are blue and clear. Now we need to maintain this change. How do we keep these environmental gains from slipping away? Joining me on this wonderful program, we've got an excellent panel, but we've got Pranoy Roy, we've got Gargi Rawat and Nidhi Kulpati here. Gargi.
That's right, Vishnu. Well, there are other changes as well that are here to stay. The lockdown is going to lift, but the virus hasn't gone anywhere. Our lockdown habits are becoming the new normal. How do we best work with this new normal when it comes to social distancing and fitness and, of course, maintaining our environment? That's the focus of our special show today, Hero, the Cycle of Change.
और बिल्कुल आपको बता दें, लॉकडाउन ने इंसान की आज़ादी ले ली कहा गया, लेकिन पशु पक्षी आबो हवा को आज़ादी दे दी है। कभी हमने सोचा था कि सहारनपुर से हिमालय दिखेंगे या पंजाब के किसी शहर से पहाड़ दिखेंगे या मुंबई में डॉल्फिन्स दिखेंगी या गंगा के नीचे जो पत्थर बसे हैं वो हमें साफ दिखेंगे या दिल्ली की सुबह चिड़ियों की चहचहाट से होगी। बहरहाल अब लॉकडाउन धीरे धीरे खुल रहा है, जीवन का चक्र गतिमान है। साइकिल के दो पहियों की तरह हमने अपने पर्यावरण और साथ में इंसान को समन्वय के साथ आगे बढ़ना है। साइकिल फॉर चेंज हमारे इस कार्यक्रम में यही एक कोशिश हम कर रहे हैं।
Well, we are very privileged to have the Hero Cycles group with us on this, and Mr. Munjal, Chairman and Managing Director of the Hero Motor Company, with us on this. Thank you very much, Mr. Munjal, for being part of this. It's wonderful, Mr. Munjal, to actually have you on board. Pranoy.
Much, Mr. Munjal. We've been interacting quite a lot over the last month, and every time there's been a crisis, you have come forward wanting to do something. You're kind of running a business with a heart. I mean, when the migrants were in trouble, you wanted to make sure they get back home. You wanted to help in every way possible. You wanted to donate, give food, etc. And now you are worried that all the gains that we've made on the environment front, on so many other fronts, there's so much coming together of India. We come together in a crisis as a country, and we're seeing that all the time. And most of all, the beauty, as Vishnu was saying, about the environment, clean air for our children. But there is always that worry, and it's not a good time to be negative, but it's a good time to prepare. How do we ensure that we don't slip back to the old ways of pollution and a bad environment for the next generation?
Okay, first I'd like to compliment the Prime Minister and his team for the size that we are, the medical infrastructure that we have. It's a job well done. We believe it's the biggest lockdown of the world. No nation's gone so far, so long, and for so many. Now, nature has shown it loud and clear that we have to work together and respect Mother Earth. There'll be no progress without sustainability, or there'll be more pushbacks like this that we face today. My friend's daughter, who had a chronic cough for 10 years, in spite of all the medicine, is fine in 20 days, thanks to this environment. Now, leaving the lockdown will be a process, not an event. Even when the worst is over, cases would come, as much of this virus is yet unknown. We learned from the Spanish flu that the second wave claimed more victims as people celebrated very early. In India, looking at the migrant labor that you talked about, it was very painful to see that. First, we have to save our people. Then the organizations will follow. Then the banks will do as well as the organizations are doing. And then the institution at large. But first, the people. I want to share with you a little what's happening in Europe, which has already opened up earlier than India. In UK and in Germany, we see the cycle and the e-cycle market surge. People don't want to crowd in a metro. They don't want to be there in a tube station. In a bus, you can't have that 1 meter safe distancing that we need. They realize that cycles are the new solution. Cycle is the solution to the new normal. The e-cycle, I believe, is a perfect work-life balance with a focus on health and when it's used as commute. We can all grab this opportunity for a cycle and then prevent the second wave of this virus. Now, cycling has the new face, and is back. We can have this clean environment to stay. So the myth of the car being a symbol of the rich and cycle that of the poor is gone. कोरोना से लड़ना है, डरना नहीं. Thanks.
मुंजाल साहब, मैं आपसे एक ये सवाल जानना चाहूँगी. आपने ई साइकिल की बात की है और हम सब जानते हैं शहर में इसका उपयोग हो, लेकिन जो हमारा लेबर क्लास है, जो हमारे समाज का सबसे निचला तबका है, वो सबसे ज़्यादा साइकिल इस्तेमाल करता है. ये जो ई साइकिल्स आप लोग बना रहे हैं, ये एक आम मजदूर तक पहुँचे, वो अफोर्ड कर सके, और जो इंडस्ट्री है वो भी इस पे क्या इंसेंटिव्स चाहेगी? क्या आप लोगों की मांग रहेंगी सरकार से कि इस बदलाव के इस दौर में क्या हो कि हमारी जो ई साइकिल्स हैं वो एक आम मजदूर को सस्ती भी पड़े और हमारे इंडस्ट्री को फ़ायदा भी हो?
हीरो एक वॉल्यूम प्लेयर है. हम दुनिया के 5% हमारे पास शेयर है मार्केट का, तो हमारे पास इकोनॉमीज ऑफ स्केल यहाँ पे बन जाती है. हमें गवर्नमेंट से ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं चाहिए, सिर्फ सेफ्टी ऑन रोड चाहिए. एक साइकिलिस्ट की रिस्पेक्ट होनी चाहिए. जैसे पुलिस ने लॉकडाउन में इतना अच्छा ये सारा काम किया है, सिमिलरली इफ वी कैन टेक केयर ऑफ द साइकिलिस्ट, गिव हिम रिस्पेक्ट, डू द राइट काइंड ऑफ पुलिसिंग, अगर सेफ्टी आ जाए, दैट्स ऑल व्हाट वी वांट. एंड हम साइकिल पहले 30,000 का था, फिर हम 20,000 तक ले आए हैं. अब हम 15,000 का लाएंगे ई साइकिल. तो जितनी वॉल्यूम आएगी उतनी कॉस्ट विल कम डाउन एंड वी विल मेक इट कम्पिटिटिव. आई एम डिटरमिन्ड कि हम जितनी गाड़ी बना रहे हैं, मोर एंड मोर विल बी ई साइकिल इन टाइम टू कम.
लिथियम आयन बैटरी का मास स्केल प्रोडक्शन हो हमारे देश में, क्या हमारी इंडस्ट्री इस तरफ भी सोच रही है?
हमारी सबसे बड़ी कॉस्ट लिथियम आयन बैटरी की है. दिस इज द राइट थिंग. जितनी कार बन रही है या मोटरसाइकिल बनेगा, इट विल बी वेरी स्मॉल. अगर ईवी रेवोल्यूशन आएगी, इट हैज टू कम विद द बिग नंबर, मिलियंस. तो अगर ईवी की फैक्ट्री लगेगी तो सबसे पहले वी विल नीड 1 मिलियन पीसेस, उसके साथ इकोनॉमिक वैल्यू आएगी. अगर ई साइकिल ईवी की आ जाए कैटेगरी में, तो जो भी फेम 2 के इंसेंटिव्स हैं, इसके ऊपर इफ इट कैन कम, तो हम 9999 का ई बाइक लाएंगे.
So, Mr. Munjal, can I just ask you one question about the current situation? You know, we are going into our 3rd lockdown. It's been a success, but there's been quite a lot of suffering also for migrants. They're in a better position now, but it's been 40 days. You were very worried about migrants. What would you like to do about migrants to make sure they get home safely and they're checked and they don't spread the virus any further? What do you think should be done for migrants? There are lakhs and lakhs and tens of lakhs of migrants in our country.
This migrant issue is very painful. They cannot be locked out for 40 days. They are daily wages. They maximum can survive a week. They have to breach this so-called lockdown. They've got to go out. They've got to work. I believe the people working for us who've gone back to Jharkhand, to Eastern UP, to Orissa, West Bengal, they've already, got jobs there. So it's going to be difficult for us to get them back and run our factories to the way that we wanted to run. But we are going to start our factories on Monday. We've got the approvals. We'll start first few days. We will only do best practices, train the people, have the distance. There should be no stage. There should be no stage less than 1 meter. So first few days will be training, best practices, and the audit of that. And then slowly by slowly, we will send people, we will get them back, we will keep them, we'll give them food. But slowly we'll have to limp back as a family. We are dependent on them, our sub-suppliers. They've got these people. So we can't run the lines without a pin, which has to come to the whole supply chain.
मुंजाल सर, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, धन्यवाद एनडीटीवी से जुड़ने के लिए. शुभकामनाएं कि सोमवार से आपका उद्योग शुरू हो रहा है.
Well, we're now joined by Sunita Narayan, Director of Center for Science and Environment, and somebody who's been fighting on the issue of the environment, fighting for clean air, clean water for decades now, Sunita. And in fact, during my time as an environment reporter, I've seen these issues actually go from, not even being considered in the news to a top headline. We started the show talking about the achievements during this lockdown, and if we focus on, the clean air that we're seeing and the clean water, what do you think needs to be done by authorities and by each of us to maintain it?
Very good question, Gargi. I mean, as you very correctly said, this is an amazing time. I mean, we have seen such dramatic difference in air quality. Not so much in water pollution, but definitely in air quality. And what it tells us is the following. One, this has come at enormous cost. I mean, the lockdown is not the solution. We cannot talk about having clean air by prolonging a lockdown. So we need to have clean air after the lockdown is lifted. And that's the question that we need to answer, that what did we learn? What can we do differently? So what have we learned? One, we have definitely learned that the worst problem with pollution, air pollution, is vehicles. And the second is combustion from industry. If you look at it today, life has come to a halt and we have no vehicles on the road. And Gargi, you will remember, we've had huge problems with the automobile industry constantly trying to negate the role of vehicles when it comes to air pollution. I think that debate is now over. So let's be very clear that to get clean air in the future, we will have to make sure that two things are done. One, that we can move people and not vehicles, which means augment public transport, do everything that you were just talking about in the earlier segment with Mr. Munjal, and plus. But do it at scale. The problem that we have learned with this lockdown is that disruption has been absolute, and that we need to think about the future so that we can also do it at scale. This little bit, one few buses here, a little bit of metro, one odd, one even, those games are not going to work anymore. So scaling up. And secondly, we need to get rid of dirty fuel for combustion, and we need to get in clean fuel for combustion. So I think, but the biggest message is we need to do it at scale.
Right. Sunita, Pranoy here. We work together on environmental projects and awareness, and you really have been a wonderful, inspirational lead for all of us. Are you a little bit hopeful or skeptical about whether we'll maintain this change? One good thing is that everybody has seen how beautiful it is to have a non-polluted and a clean environment. Even our rivers are better. Animals are out on the streets enjoying themselves much more. Won't that hit some corner of people's mind and say, we want that again? Let's not go back to cloudy skies where not without clouds, but you still don't really see a blue sky. And by the way, there's one potential, and this is unverified, it needs to be peer reviewed, but one potential paper which has been discussed in a press conference, that when you have a polluted environment, your ultraviolet rays don't reach the planes. And ultraviolet is bad for these viruses. So even for corona, to get rid of coronavirus, it's important to have a clean environment. But apart from that, people have witnessed a beautiful environment. Won't that have some effect?
No, absolutely. And Dr. Roy, I'll go further, a little further. I mean, not only have we seen it, and we have been able to breathe and see the clean skies and heard, I mean, the kind of pleasure that you can hear from birds. I mean, instead of the honking of the cars, it's like birds have taken over our lives. And I'm sure we're all thrilled with that, and we don't want to lose it. And that will make us more committed. But I think there are two more reasons. One, that if you look at it today, there is more and more data that shows that people are not going to hospitals, that hospital rates have come down dramatically. And this is because there isn't that kind of morbidity that is happening because of dirty air. So you are seeing the impact even with health. I mean, corona is the reason why people are going to hospital, but not for other reasons. And the third is that, let's be clear, this virus hits the lungs, which means that you will have a serious problem of comorbidity. Weaker the lungs, more compromised the lungs, more this virus will get to you. So it is even more critical, given the fact that we have got to live with this virus for some years, at least a year to come, if not more. We have to make sure that we reduce our exposure for dirty air, toxic air. So I think these three issues should really drive us, and I hope they will. So I am optimistic. I feel we do have an opportunity to fix both the climate problem and the air problem, and maybe.
All right.
Maybe.
Okay, Sunita, thank you so much for that. On that optimistic note, thanks so much for joining us, and here's hoping for more campaigns together.
Well, we've got a fantastic guest joining us now, the one and only Anil Kapoor, actor and producer. Thanks, Mr. Kapoor, very much for being with us. Simple question to you. Have you seen so many stars or clearer skies in the last few weeks than you've seen in perhaps decades? And what is your message to millions of your fans to embrace the environment?
I think it's conserve less, be fit, healthy, completely wastage. There should be no wastage, no plastic, and of course the social distancing and all those kind of things. I think we have to travel as less as possible, e-cars, e-cycles, and I think that's the way out. And, education. We have to educate the masses, the advantages we've got and the disadvantages of this whole pandemic which is happening.
Kapoor, this is Pranoy here.
Good evening, sir.
I'm a great admirer of yours, and I watch you work with passion and social conscience, and it's amazing. But I must start by saying it's been a very sad few days, last couple of days, for the Hindi cinema, and we are with you. You must have gone through a very difficult time in the last couple of days, but thank you so much for joining us, because what you say, there are millions of people who will listen to you and follow and try and understand and do what you're saying. So in that sense, we've learned a lot even from the lockdown, how much unnecessary wastage we used to do when there was no lockdown. Can we carry that forward and make sure that we minimize wastage and minimize degradation of the environment? How much will we learn from this crisis, this pandemic?
Actually, the only way to learn is to educate everybody. Like this show which you're doing, this talk show which you're having at the moment, you can have it as much as possible. The corporation they have to take the lead. We as individuals, we as celebrities, we as filmmakers, actors have to take the lead and educate everybody, educate the masses, educate this, the people, and educate them as much. This has to be one of the main subjects, and instead of, when students and everybody, because it's our generation which has completely ruined the earth, in a way, or the earlier generation. Now for the future generation, we have to educate them and, take this in a positive way and take as much as we can with this pandemic and take the positivity, as you're talking, that the skies are clear, the birds are there, the air is clean, you can see the mountains from Saharanpur, and from Jalandhar, so we have to make the most of it, educate them, this is what are the advantages, of, use as less water as possible, and conserve the water, conserve, less is more, I think that's the only, and be fit, if you're fit, if you're healthy, obviously automatically you'll be more aware of the polluted air, and fitness is the key, because if you're fit, if you're healthy, you will aware what to eat, what not to eat, and you'll be aware of, that the air has to be clean, the cleaner the air as because it's, COVID or coronavirus is about the lungs. So the cleaner the air, the better it is. So we have to do that, educate the people as much as we can.
अनिल जी बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया एनडीटीवी के इस खास कार्यक्रम के साथ जुड़ने के लिए। अब हमारे साथ ईशा फाउंडेशन के संस्थापक सदगुरु हैं और साथ ही बायोकॉन कंपनी की प्रमुख किरण मजुमदार शॉ हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं। सदगुरु जी, मैं आपसे यही जानना चाहूँगी, अब धीरे धीरे जिस तरह से लॉकडाउन खुल रहा है, लोगों को संयम भी बरतने की ज़रूरत है, भीड़ भाड़ में इकट्ठा ना हो जाएं, तमाम जो नियम है उनको पालन करें। आप क्या आम नागरिक से कहेंगे?
नमस्कारम। Is it on?
जी जी
Namaskaram.
नमस्कार सर।
Well, I know there is a lot of eulogizing of the lockdown as an environmental savior is going on, but these few weeks, maybe totally nearly 6 weeks of lockdown, definitely there will be benefits. It is clearly demonstrating how nature is capable of bouncing back on various levels. But we need to understand all this talk is largely coming from a few major cities where air is polluted, water and everything else, whatever else. But that is not the case with the rest of India. In the villages, you don't notice any difference, it's just about the same as it always was. So, I would like to say geographically, as a nation, because climate and environment can not even be spoken as a nation, you have to speak about it as a planet. Well, because we have kind of locked ourselves up a little bit, there is an improvement. But let us not be overexcited about this because when the lockdown is over, the economic activity may take some more time, so you may enjoy that for another few months. But the more you enjoy that ecological benefit, the more those who are suffering the economic pain will complain. Having said this, I'm not trying to take away the value of it, but the important thing we need to understand is, if there is no long-term commitment to see how ecology revives, well, if the city air is clear, people think ecology has changed. It's not like that. It doesn't work like that. The important thing is, the main destruction that's happening in the world is the biodiversity of this planet is kind of falling apart. Since 1970, we have lost over 60% of the vertebrates on the planet. That is in volume of numbers, nearly 60% is gone. So, when plants, animals are going away like this, then we talking about city air is clean because I didn't start my car today is not ecological change, it's a civic change.
Right.
It's a little bit of civic change and a little bit of civic
Sadhguruji,
sense.
actually I wanted to also focus on the issue of clean water. I know, a clean Ganga is a passion of yours as it is of mine, and you had this campaign to plant trees along the Ganga. So, we've been talking a lot about how our rivers are looking a lot cleaner, though at the same time we do need some sort of scientific testing to be able to tell whether it is true. What would you say authorities need to do, and if you could talk a bit about this issue of our clean rivers?
See, rivers are dirty for two different reasons. One thing is there is domestic and city waste going into it untreated. Another is the industrial waste is going into it. Fixing the industrial waste is much easier. Just a strict policy, we can fix it. Right now, the simple mistake that we've been making for all these years is, we think this is a good thing, this is a school teacher approach. You polluted the river, so you fix it. So all polluting industries have their own little treatment plant. Of course, that treatment plant works only on the day when the inspection is happening. Rest of the days it's kept in mint condition, not used. So the important thing is to establish treatment industries where your sewage is my business, so I will ensure that it happens. So this is something we have put as part of the Rally for Rivers recommendations, and
Right.
the government is trying to bring this forth in many states.
Right,
Maharashtra
and
has
it's
gone
important to push these
really
issues
ahead.
right now since we're seeing clean rivers, everybody's appreciating it, and so this is the time to really talk about these issues and, pressurize authorities to do more on this. Thank you so much for joining us on our show today.
Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, would you agree, ma'am, that when things get better, when COVID hopefully goes away, it's not going to be a return to what it was? We have to embrace change. We have to embrace change in terms of embracing the environment. We have to embrace a new style of work. We have to perhaps embrace a new way in which we look at our economy. It just cannot be GDP, GDP, GDP. We perhaps need to future-proof ourselves as far as health is concerned. How do you see the road ahead being very different from what it's been?
Well, I completely agree with Sadhguru when he says that it's really an urban problem and it's about urban India that needs to change. Now, I think it's very idealistic to expect people to think about these wonderful clean days that we've spent over the last few weeks and hope that we won't get back to our old bad habits. The one thing I'm hoping is that the work from home, which has worked for corporate India, is going to be adopted in a much bigger way than what was previously thought of. Because I think that can actually reduce vehicular the pollution. And I'm just hoping that every industry really works out a policy where you actually reduce the vehicular pollution that is being caused through commuting. And I know that this is something which every company will think of. But to expect it to come, to keep continuing and hoping that everyone won't pollute and will be very responsible and start riding bikes, I think is expecting too much. I think it's going to be, we can enjoy this maybe for the rest of the year, but I'm afraid that we'll get back to our bad habits before too long. So we do need policy. We do need to, make people pay for polluting. I also believe that, we've also seen all our water bodies being cleaned up because of, industrial pollution not being there. And I wish the pollution control agencies would actually stop those polluters from polluting our waterways and make sure that they actually, as Sadhguru said, we must actually make effluent treatment a business which has to be mandated, which service providers can actually make into a business. Otherwise, you're going to see people polluting like before. That's my concern.
Since we do have you here, and it's wonderful to always be speaking to you, everybody is worried about what our future is. What role will Indians and Indian companies play in fighting COVID-19 in terms of ultimately a cure or a drug in the meanwhile?
I think there are multiple efforts afoot for developing a vaccine ASAP. There are lots of drugs that are being tried for treating and seeing whether we can save seriously infected patients. I think we need to test and make sure that there is good surveillance. I think when the lockdown is being lifted in a graded way, I do hope people will protect themselves with masks and keep others protected. I think we need to make sure that we are very disciplined about the surveillance protocols. I think in the workplace, corporates must do their bit of ensuring that people are safe in the workplace and that they track and have vigil on their own employees. So I think a lot has to be done from corporate India. But I think, we are talking about the environment. And I think here corporate India can actually play a big role, because any industry, any sector that's a huge employer must play its bit.
Sure.
And its role in cleaning up, in helping to reduce pollution.
Right. Well, Ms. Shaw, thanks very much for your views. We really do all need to come together to try and reduce pollution for starters. There's so much more that we can do.
और हमारे साथ बेहद ख़ास दो मेहमान अब जुड़ गए। कल की केकला लेखिका हैं, अभिनेत्री हमारे साथ, और मशहूर कार्डियोलॉजिस्ट डॉक्टर नरेश त्रेहन भी हमारे साथ हैं। कल की मेरा पहला सवाल अब ये समझना हम आपसे चाहेंगे कि कुछ हमारे जीवन के नए नॉर्मल्स हो गए हैं, किस तरह से हम सेफ डिस्टेंसिंग रख पाएंगे। जिस तरह से आप फिल्म जगत से आती हैं, क्या धीरे धीरे शूटिंग जब शुरू होगी कितना ये संभव हो पाएगा, कितना अडेप्ट हम कर सकते हैं, आपकी क्या सोच?
मुझे एक्चुअली कोई एक्सपर्ट नहीं हूँ, मुझे मालूम नहीं है कैसे होगा लॉकडाउन के बाद शूट पे, बट आई डू थिंक दैट वी हैव अ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू ट्राई एंड मेक थिंग्स सेफर in the work environment in our film industry, especially when we have a lot of people on set, to make sure that there is hygiene, to have proper toilets and proper sanitization available for all those who are employed.
Do you see this episode in our lives as being, a block which is monumental, beyond which everything else that's going to happen is going to be new and different? Are our lives going forward about embracing something new and different, something we've studied about, read about, protect the environment, protect your health? Is this something that people will finally, as a result of this awful experience, have to embrace because there's no other choice?
I hope that's the silver lining of this whole situation. I think the way that things are going and the lockdown is getting extended, it's really giving us time to think about what's happening in our world. And of course, we're also witnessing the changes environmentally, just seeing blue skies, seeing many more birds, not seeing polluted horizons. And I hope that we can implement things, like public transport, encourage that more, find ways in which we can all reduce our emissions, and I keep wishing for that. And I think also in terms of waste at home, I don't know, I personally have been, finding that in this time, I don't want to waste as much. I don't want to, because I have to get rid of my waste myself, and we don't have as much help. So, I'm composting, I'm recycling my plastic, I'm doing a lot of that on a very individual basis. But if we can do that as companies, as corporates, and as a society, I think it would be wonderful.
Right, Kalki, we know you recently had a baby. Congratulations on that. And has that changed your outlook? As you said, we're all under quarantine right now. We've all spent a lot of time at home. How has that changed your outlook to the world, and what kind of a world would you like for your child?
Well, of course, I would love a world, for my child. I want the best for my child, and I don't want climate change or something like that to destroy the future for my child. And I think it's only logical that we all want that for ourselves and for our future generations.
All right, Kalki, thank you so much for speaking to us on this very important issue. And yes, I think we all want a better future for all of us and our children.
Dr. Naresh Trehan, one of India's finest cardiologists, joins us now. He's somebody who's very much leading from the front in the fight against COVID-19. A lot of people, Dr. Trehan, would say that we don't care enough about our health. People wonder whether they should get medical insurance or not. And then something like COVID happens. Going forward, do you believe that institutionally and culturally there will be an effort to future-proof our health?
This is a wake-up call. Viruses are going to get more and more virulent. The environment is the one that has to actually neutralize these things that are happening around us. So like Tom Friedman said the other day, this is a war between Mother Nature and Father Greed. So if we learn our lesson well and reset our priorities, we will be able to not only live in a better world, but we will be much better prepared for our environmental dangers. So you look at, there was globalization. Globalization was massive. Countries got richer, people got richer. There was but a little invisible virus has brought the whole world down to its knees. This is a great lesson to learn. And if we forget it in a short period, we'll be suffering again. So I think that if each one of us, make sure that we participate in this war, we do neutralize the present situation, and as we move forward, we have to neutralize all the other things that have enabled our life to reach this stage. So we are saying we learn to live with very poor air quality. We did not care how we traveled, biggest cars you could find, polluting industries, diesel being used for generators. So I think that this is all to be brought in question, on one hand, to make ourselves in a healthier environment. The other is in the protection, like you asked about the insurance. Yes, we should all be insured, because one thing that is very important is you don't know when somebody gets sick. You may be the healthiest person running a marathon, but you may be gone tomorrow because of some unknown problem that you may develop. So this is a wake-up call for sure. And we need to change our environment from the bottom up, in the sense like somebody just mentioned sanitation. So if you look at Swachh Bharat, is already in place, but we don't practice it. Swasth Bharat is already in place, but we haven't paid enough attention and have not actually gone after it like the way we should. So I think that we just have, if we use this opportunity to realign our priorities, don't travel if you don't have to travel, leisure will come, but this has also taught us that electronically we can conduct meetings much better than we do by traveling 2,000 miles to meet somebody, one person, two people, and then they have to talk to another 10 people from a remote or another call or another travel. We can do a lot of our life today by not doing wasteful travel, wasteful consumption. So I think the world will be different, and we should be healthier, exercise, mental health, which is very important, and yoga being the best friend you have. Today, social distancing will become the norm, and for this period, masking and high-end hygiene will be your mantra. So there are three things, three dharmas today. Like you practice your religion, whatever it is, you need to practice this as a universal religion. Hand hygiene, masking and social distancing. Be responsible and we'll win this war and corona will be defeated.
डॉक्टर त्रेहन, आपने कहा कि एक छोटे से वायरस ने हम इंसानियत को इतना एक कड़ा सबक सिखाया है। सर, अब धीरे धीरे लॉकडाउन खुल रहा है कुछ इलाकों में, कहीं पे ओपीडीज खुल रही हैं। आप जो आम नागरिक है जो एक तरह से रश करेगा हॉस्पिटल्स की ओर या उनकी कुछ बीमारियां हैं, क्या आप समझाना चाहेंगे उनको?
तो दो बातें हुई हैं। एक तो ये कॉन्सेप्ट बिल्कुल अब अमल हो गया है कि देयर आर कोविड हॉस्पिटल्स एंड नॉन कोविड हॉस्पिटल्स। कोविड हॉस्पिटल्स जो हम सब ने बना लिए अपने से दूर, जैसे गुरुग्राम में मेदांता फोर्टिस आर्टिमिस ने एक अलग ही मनेसर में कोविड हॉस्पिटल बना दिया कि सारे कोविड हॉस्पिटल्स वहाँ पेशेंट्स वहाँ जा सकते हैं। हमारे हॉस्पिटल्स नॉन कोविड हो गए कि जो लोग हैं अभी आज सफर कर रहे हैं घर पे, जिनको जरूरत है हेल्थ केयर की, जिनको हार्ट प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, डायबिटीज है, कैंसर है, तो उनके लिए ये सुविधा उपलब्ध हो जाए बिना किसी फियर के। सो हॉस्पिटल्स सब खुले हैं, अब ट्रैवल भी के ऊपर भी रिलैक्सेशन हो रहा है। तो जो पेशेंट्स हैं जिनको जरूरत है डॉक्टर के पास जाने की, वो जरूर जाएं। दूसरा, हमने भी एक सीख लिया कि रिमोट टेलीमेडिसिन कितनी सक्सेसफुल है। तो कई लोगों को ट्रैवल नहीं करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि हम उनको कंसल्टेशन इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडिया के माध्यम से हम दे सकते हैं। सो ये आज नया नॉर्म है। जैसे हम पहले अगर जो 100 टेलीमेडिसिन कॉन्सल्ट्स करते थे, आज के दिन 500 से ऊपर टेलीफोन कॉन्सल्ट्स हम कर रहे हैं फ्रॉम वेदांता। तो लोग भी समझ गए हैं टेक्नोलॉजी को, लोगों को रूबरू कर लेती है वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग। तो इसीलिए हमें ये नया नॉर्म देखते हुए वेस्टफुल ट्रैवल भी खत्म होगा, पेशेंट्स की भी सुविधा बढ़ जाएगी और उनकी ट्रीटमेंट भी तुरंत हो सकेगी और हॉस्पिटल्स में ओवर क्राउडिंग अननेसेसरी भी नहीं होगी। तो ये हमें सबको आगे चलना है क्योंकि कई लोगों को हार्ट अटैक हो गया घर पे, कई लोगों की जान चली गई, डायलिसिस पेशेंट्स को तकलीफ हुई, डायलिसिस पेशेंट बेचारे चले गए ऊपर। सो ऐसे लोगों को बहुत तकलीफ हुई है, जिसको हम इलेक्टिव कहते थे वो इमरजेंसी हो गई। तो इसीलिए आज के दिन में पेशेंट्स को बिल्कुल अपने निश्चिंत होकर हॉस्पिटल्स में जाना चाहिए क्योंकि अब वो कोविड को अलग कर दिया गया।
All right, Dr. Trehan, thank you so much for speaking to us and being a part of this effort of ours. We're now joined by Navroz Dubash, Professor, Center for Policy Research. Navroz, thanks so much for joining us. And we're talking a lot about the environment, what we're seeing around us, cleaner air, we're talking about cleaner water. And how can we maintain this is also one of the things that is being spoken about. Also, given this entire pandemic, I think it's also made us realize we need to respect nature more. So how do we maintain this? How do we build on, what we've seen during this lockdown?
Yes, thank you so much for having me on the show. Very, very good questions. So, I think the first thing to think about is how do we think about this lockdown? And there's no doubt that the first thing we have to think about is the fact that the burden has been borne by the poorest in India. And that when we think about the environment, of course, there have been some gains, but they've been at the cost of economic slowdown with hardship to many. And so that's not the kind of environmental gain that we really want to see. At the same time, our eyes have been opened by this environmental gain. And so the question we have to ask is, what can those of us, particularly those of us who have not borne the brunt of this lockdown, what can we do differently to try and carry forward some of the things we've learned? Now, I don't think that the only way going forward is that we actually have no choice but to shut down economic activity to have environmental gains. That's not the lesson we should take. There are many things that we could do. So let me just name maybe a couple of them. And you can tell me whether I should pause and if you want to ask questions about these. So the first thing, as I think Dr. Trehan has said, is that many of us, and particularly the elite among us, have been forced into this giant experiment with working at home, with doing more Skype calls and Zoom calls. A lot of business is being transacted online. This is a giant experiment, and so far, my indications suggest that it's actually working reasonably well. A lot of superfluous trips could be cut down by air, by road, and so on. Work from home is becoming more and more popular, and companies are seeing that it actually costs them less in terms of rental costs, even with high productivity. So we can actually, at one fell swoop, decrease air travel by a substantial chunk, as well as we can decrease congestion on our roads.
Okay, Navroz,
that's the first thing that we could try carrying forward, going out.
Navroz, I must ask you, what in your mind in the last few weeks has been, for you, the single biggest environmental gain that you have seen during this lockdown period?
Well, the single biggest gain that we have experienced visibly and in terms of our sensory perceptions is definitely air pollution, right? So air quality, I've just looked up some numbers. We're talking about 40-50% improvements in PM 2.5, which is the main pollutant to watch out for. While the average at this time of year is about 100, 120, averages are closer to 35 and 40 and 50 PM 2.5. We have many more satisfactory air days that we've had. It's actually quite extraordinary, and it teaches us something about where these pollutants are coming from. Now, as I said, some of these pollutants are coming from things that we will need soon. Industrial emissions, there's been a decline in power plants and so on. But there are things we can do about that. Can I just pick up on the power plant point, if I might?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so what's interesting about the power plant story is that the power sector is going through quite a crisis because our power demand has gone down. And so power generation companies are losing money, they're not getting paid, and so on. This is actually a great opportunity to more quickly move away and close down old power plants, something that the government actually asked for in the last budget. Because if you close down old and polluting power plants, the new and cleaner power plants and renewable energy plants get a chance to make some money because they're the ones that we use. So they get used at higher proportions and they make more money. So it's good for the economy, it's good for the environment, and it's good for the COVID startup, the post-lockdown economic startup post-COVID. So this is the kind of thing we have to look for, where there are environmental gains and where there are economic gains, and particularly gains to the poorest.
Mr. Navroz, I just wanted to ask that we all are thinking about cleaner fuel, and there's this talk about hybrid cars, e-cycles, hydrogen fuel cell, electric buses. How can we progress in that direction?
Right. So look, one of the things around the world that's being discussed is as stimulus programs are being developed to jumpstart economies, our stimulus program is relatively much smaller than in many other countries, which are running into trillions of dollars in the EU and other places. How can those monies be put towards green technologies and jumpstarting green industries that can generate jobs? I think that's an important question and we should be thinking about it. But I think in India also, we have to work on at least two tracks. So one is moving towards e-buses and electric vehicles and so on. But I think more urgently in the short run, India has to move towards better and improved public transport. We need to actually get people more used to public transport. And by that, I don't mean people who are on public transport more now. Ideally, I mean you and me also on public transport and the elite of the city. We need to build public transport systems that people are pleased to use and are comfortable to use. And that also are comfortable in that they give you space and distance, and therefore don't expose you to health risks. So I think investing in public transport, at least simultaneously, and I would even argue before thinking about electric vehicles, is probably really important.
All right. Thank you so much, Navroz, for joining us and sharing your thoughts on what needs to be done and, where the authorities need to put their attention when it comes to a cleaner future. Thank you for being with us. We're now joined by Jemima Rodriguez, a member of the Indian women's cricket team, and also Zaid Khan, actor and producer. Thank you both for being with us. Jemima, first to you. I think this lockdown has really given us all an opportunity to think about, firstly, our health, and also about the environment. So what would your message be when it comes to being fitter and also having a cleaner lifestyle?
Yeah, firstly, thank you for having me over here today. And I think it's unfortunate times, nobody really knew that all this would happen and everything's happening all of a sudden. But as you said, yeah, it's very important that we stay fit during these times. And again, to stay fit, you don't need many equipments, because now gym and everything so now gym and everything is stopped. So at home, what best you can do, that's what we need to continue to do. So it's important that we keep moving and keep working out even at home, and also to follow the instructions the government has given. That's how we can stay healthy and stay fit.
हमारे साथ जायद खान भी हैं। जायद, आप एक्टर हैं और जो आम जनता है आप लोगों को देखती है कि आप लोग फिट कैसे रहते हैं, इस समय संदेश कैसे आप लोगों को देंगे जो घरों में बंद हैं? जिस तरह से जमामा ने कहा कि जिम्स नहीं जा सकते हैं, किस तरह से वो अपने आप को एक संयम बना के रखें, घर में रहें और चुस्त दुरुस्त भी रहें?
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। पहले तो देखिए, अभी फिटनेस जो भी मशीन्स अभी आप जिम में जाके करते हो, द बिगेस्ट advantage you have for yourself to be fit is gravity. Use gravity well, whether it's a push-up, whether it's doing squats, whether it's doing planks. I mean, you have everything you need in just having a floor and a floor mat, and you can do a lot of exercises out there. Of course, sometimes it is important to take some sun, go out downstairs, take a walk around your building, get some fresh air. It's also important to improve your immunity. It's not just stay at home, step out a little bit, get some sun. Otherwise, your immunity can go down. So all these things are very important while you're at home, while you are, in this lockdown. But make the most of it. That's the most important thing.
Jemima, we are focusing a lot on cycling. Going forward, it's about the culture of cycling, which we really need to encourage. It's not just about the environment, it's also about fitness. Are you a keen cyclist yourself? Do you believe that this is something we need to adopt in our lives on a daily basis? Not just to commute, but also for our health?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think cycling is one of the best exercises, to keep yourself fit. And even when we have our workouts, we do cycling. So I think it's really important. And as he has said, it's important to find, whatever we can have to just stay fit at home. We may not have most of the equipments, but, we can just use our body weight or, just use what we have. So yeah, definitely it's important, to stay healthy during these times.
All right, Zaid, if you could tell us a bit about your own personal, workout routine. A lot of people have taken to apps these days to help them keep fit during this time of, being locked up and in our homes. You spoke about how you go downstairs for a walk, but just share a bit about that.
Quite honestly, I have 2 kids, Gargi. They are 8 and 12, and they keep me quite active. I have to keep them active besides their online classes. So we do have a routine where, I take them down and we do a couple of drills. As I said, at this point in time, it's best to use gravity as your challenge, and, so I make them do a lot of army drills. I join in with them. And I think the idea is to keep the mind fit and to keep the body fit so that you have a good balance and a good perspective of what things are, because I think just being at home and reading and being in online classes can be a big drag for children especially. So, it's important to just get them out, get their spirits high a little bit. But having said that, I think New India, we should not forget that the India that we are going to be in, or the world that we're going to be coming, there's a big paradigm shift that is going to come. We can't just wish that, all of this is going to be the same. We have to make effort. I think it's important for us to understand that young India should be incentivized to be innovative, to come up with ideas, that will be plausible for the new future. I mean, just like the Cold War had, immense inventions because of competition. I think the competition of COVID and the future that we're going to see with COVID should give us enough incentive, and the kids especially, like your IITs and your IIMs and all these guys, to come up with innovative solutions of how to live the future. Because, I mean, everybody's saying things like, oh, we'll have to keep our distance and we'll have to do this. Let's face it, we are a human race. We always fight and we always try to come out on top. And I think this time around, coming out on top would mean working with nature and getting ourselves to be in tune with how to move forward as a model society. So I think incentivizing our children, our kids, our institutions, our educational institutions to come up with innovative ideas for the future, transport, energy, all of that. So I think those are things that I think the government should also really stress upon and really subsidize. I think we'll see that the future of India would be something that, we don't always have to look outwards for answers. I think we can look inwards and we can propel our children to be the answer for the world, I think this is a great opportunity for all of us to, come together and find real innovative solutions.
बिल्कुल जायद आपने ये बात कही। जमामा, मेरा आपसे सवाल ये, क्योंकि आप एक क्रिकेटर भी हैं, एक स्पोर्ट्समैन स्पिरिट रहती है, ऐसे में जो युवा घरों के अंदर बंद हैं लेकिन वो उत्सुक है बाहर जाने के लिए, पर्सनल टिप्स आप उनको क्या दे सकती हैं?
सॉरी, आप वापस बोल सकते हो, आवाज़ कट हो गई है।
जी, कुछ टिप्स, क्योंकि आप एक क्रिकेटर हैं और जाने हमारी टीम में भी हैं, इंडियन T20 टीम में भी हैं, टिप्स क्या देंगी हमारे युवाओं को इस समय आपकी, वो अपना ध्यान कैसे रखें घरों में?
I think lockdown है, and it's very natural for all of us, especially youngsters, to think, okay, it's lockdown, I'll be at home, I'll chill, I'll watch stuff and all that. But it's very important to have a routine. So first, I would suggest every youngster should have a routine, and make sure that you plan out your day well, because we have this time. It's important that we make most of this time. So it's important that you plan out your day well and include a workout in your day. It doesn't matter, even if you're not a cricketer, it doesn't really matter. But even if you're not a sports person also, it doesn't really matter. But exercising is always good for your health, and it always helps you. So I would encourage every youngster watching this to first thing make a routine, plan out your day, and also include exercise in your daily routine, and also to help your mom and your dad at home. I think that's the best thing we can do as youngsters, the little things that make a huge difference. So I think every youngster should also help their parents in the smallest work at home.
You're such an inspiration for so many people at so many levels. Jemima and Zayed, I'd like to thank both of you very much for joining us. We're going to take a short break now, but take a look at this green innovation that involves a battery and a cycle.
29-year-old Partha Saha, a mechanic and YouTuber, has designed and assembled this innovative battery-operated two-wheeler. Its driver and pillion rider seats are separated by a distance of 1 meter to ensure social distancing.
সেই উপলক্ষে আমি এই বাইকটা সিদ্ধান্ত করেছি বানাবো, যার থেকে আমার যে পিছনে বসবে আমার মেয়ে, ও আমার থেকে 1 মিটার দূরে যা থাকে।
It took Partha 2 weeks to assemble this. He never studied after failing in matriculation examinations, but he has been a mechanic for over 10 years. He's also a YouTuber since 2018. His channel, Technical Partha, has 306,000 subscribers, and he uploads tutorial videos on revamping gadgets and machines.
ছোটবেলা থেকে এই কাজ করে করে এতটুকু যে এগিয়ে এসেছে, তার জন্য আমি খুব গর্বিত। আর ওটা দিয়ে প্রমাণ করে দিয়েছে যে ভবিষ্যতে এইভাবে দূরত্ব বজায় রেখে চলাটা প্রত্যেকেরই দরকার।
After the lockdown ends, Partha hopes to get a permit from the transport department to get his COVID-19 bike on the road.
Well, since the lockdown began, nature has been given a rest. It's never looked more beautiful. This is a program where we are looking at the road ahead, the importance of learning a few things about how important it is for us to maintain our environment going forward. Be part of a culture of change. Part of that, of course, rests with cycling and embracing exercise, embracing the environment, and of course, embracing our health.
That's right. It's a new normal that we all have to get used to, whether it comes to our lifestyles, whether it comes to the environment, and of course, whether it comes to fitness. So that's what we're talking about today on our show, Hero, the cycle for change, the cycle of change. And we're going to talk about how we can maintain these gains that we've achieved during the lockdown when it comes to the environment, and also where we need to pressurize authorities, what we need to do individually as well to change our lifestyles for a better tomorrow.
बिल्कुल। और इस कार्यक्रम में हम यही समझने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि हमारा पर्यावरण और जो इंसान है किस तरह से समन्वय बनाकर ये दोनों साथ साथ आगे चल सकें। हम कोरोना से इस समय बहुत परेशान हैं, लेकिन आपको बता दें एक दौर था हमारे देश में, दुनिया भर में, जब महामारियां हुआ करती थी। 1870 से 1910 तक महामारी और अकाल का एक तरह से युग भी कहा गया, और हमने उसको भी पार किया। हमारे कई गाँव गायब हो गए थे और तमाम फहरिस्त है हमारे सामने। और इस समय हमारे साथ बेहद खास मेहमान सचिन पायलट, उप मुख्यमंत्री राजस्थान, हमारे साथ जुड़ चुके हैं। सचिन, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद समय निकालने के लिए। हमारे तमाम राज्य जो हैं कोरोना वायरस से चपेट में किस तरह से निकलें, उससे जूझ रहे हैं। पूरा देश एक तरह से जंग में लगा हुआ है। इस समय आपकी चिंताएं क्या हैं, या जहन में क्या ख्याल है, जो मंथन क्या चल रहा है?
मुझे लगता है कि जब भी लॉकडाउन हम लोग उठाएंगे, उसके बाद जीवन को वापस पटरी पर लाने के लिए हमने बहुत कुछ सोच रखा है, लेकिन क्या हमारी योजनाएं जो हमने सोचा है ठीक वैसे ही होगा, या हमें और दिक्कतों का सामना करना पड़ेगा? आप लोग चर्चा कर रहे थे कैसे मौसम ठीक हो गया, वातावरण प्रदूषण से बचा हुआ है, सब कुछ साफ दिखाई देता है और आसमान भी बहुत नीला दिखाई देता है, लेकिन इसकी कीमत भी है। कीमत ये है कि फैक्ट्रियाँ बंद हैं, कारखाने बंद हैं, लोग रोजगार नहीं ढूंढ पा रहे हैं। तो बहुत मुश्किल एक चॉइस है, लेकिन मेरे ख्याल चुनौती भी ये है कि संतुलन कैसे बनाया जाए, क्योंकि हम किसी भी एक चीज़ को दरकार नहीं कर सकते हैं। राजस्थान के अंदर हम लोग चाहते हैं कि जब हम दोबारा वापस अपनी अर्थव्यवस्था को पटरी पर लेकर आएँ और अपनी इकोनॉमी को रिवाइव करेंगे, तो उसमें कुछ अगर संभव हो तो मूलभूत परिवर्तन करने चाहिए। जो बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस हैं, जो रिफॉर्म्स हैं, जो टेक्नोलॉजी हमको आगे की तरफ दिशा दे सकती है, उस पर हम कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि हर चुनौती को हमें बहुत सूझबूझ के साथ उसका सामना करना है। मुसीबत का समय है, संकट है, कठिनाई है, पीड़ा है, लोग दुखी हैं, लेकिन जब उभर कर आएंगे तो सही रास्ता हम लोग इख्तियार करेंगे, ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण रहेगा। इसमें पॉलिसी इंटरवेंशन ज़रूरी हैं, लोगों का कंट्रीब्यूशन ज़रूरी है, लेकिन सबसे ज़्यादा संकल्प शक्ति। अगर हम सोचेंगे कि हम दोबारा एक प्रदूषण फ्री भारत में रहना चाहते हैं, आने वाली पुश्तों के लिए एक ऐसा वातावरण छोड़कर जाएं जिस पर हमें गर्व हो, तो बहुत कुछ हमें उसके लिए चेंजेस करने पड़ेंगे, बिहेवियरल चेंजेस करने पड़ेंगे, और एक सोसाइटल जो एक हमारा वैल्यू सिस्टम है उसमें चेंज लाना बहुत जरूरी हो जाएगा।
Sachin, one of the things that we are trying to look at is the road ahead. Cycling is such an important part in the lives of millions of Indians in our cities, in rural areas as well. But that fills a certain need for transportation. Do you believe that many others in our urban centres need to adopt cycling because it's helpful for the environment, it reduces pressure on public infrastructure, buses and the like? And to that end, what would you as a senior leader in Rajasthan say to people in your state to try and encourage this? What about infrastructure for cycling, which is missing in so many cities in our country?
I think before we ask our citizens to make this huge choice from leaving automobiles and scooters and motorcycles and coming back to cycles, it'd be very important for us to at least create that infrastructure. I don't think we are a cycling nation as far as working goes. Everybody wants to go in anything but a cycle. So to create that change won't be easy. There have been some move. Our Minister for Transport in Rajasthan actually started a no vehicle day, one day a month. He said everybody should not use vehicles, either cycle or just walk, whatever. I think there are small incremental changes, but to expect that we'll have a huge change in our work life and we'll be able to change behavior of so many people is a daunting task. But we have to make those small steps now. Now, I think it could be a good positive thing, but I think young people must lead that change. It's a little bit more difficult to change the attitudes of the older generation, but young people, I think, are more attuned to having this change of lifestyle. But first and foremost, we have to create. I think we'll certainly endeavor towards making that infrastructure available before we ask people to shift to non-polluting mode of transport like cycling.
Right, Sachin, you're talking about how we need young people to make that change, and we need young leaders to actually drive them to make that change. I also wanted to just ask you, as Deputy Chief Minister of Rajasthan, and we're going to see the lockdown lifting, and we're going to see a lot of restrictions lifting come Monday. So what are your concerns going forward?
I just think we should, as a community, as citizens, be responsible, because the governments, whether it's our government here or the government of India, is giving concessions for people to travel in green zone, orange zones, but one must really still maintain social distancing, still maintain precautions that we have to take. We shouldn't get carried away. Unfortunately, sometimes whether it's desperation or sometimes it's just carelessness, we tend to overlook these precautions, and it's a heavy price to pay. So this lifting up or partial lifting up of lockdown must really be very, very, taken seriously and very articulately adhered to. There is no point in opening up of a lockdown where we again have spread of infection and most districts go into the red zone. So I'm apprehensive to a point, but I'm also confident because people have really helped. I mean, no lockdown or curfew is successful if people don't participate. We've had the people's participation. They know it's for their own safety. That's why they've adhered to all the provisions of the lockdown. Now, coming this Monday, when it is partially lifted, I hope we are still able to maintain some sanctity of discipline, because look at a country like Sweden, for example. They don't have a lockdown there, but they still practice all those things that we, citizens are expected to practice. So I think that as long as there is good communication, there's clarity on the guidelines that we have told the people, I think we'll be able to maintain, a sensible way forward. And I think slowly we'll be able to get back into normal functioning. It may take a few weeks and months. I don't think it's happening tomorrow, because this is a long-term problem, and we have to really wait until the vaccination is found. Until that point, staying away, containing the infection is perhaps the best remedy.
सचिन, मैं आपसे ई साइकिल्स के बारे में पूछना चाह रही थी कि क्या ई कॉमर्स में जो डिलीवरी सिस्टम है उसमें इस्तेमाल किया जा सकता है, लेकिन जब आपका मैं जवाब सुन रही थी, मैं आपसे ये जानना चाह रही हूँ, सोमवार के लिए क्या तैयारी है आपकी सरकार की? क्या क्या दिशा निर्देश आप लोगों को दे रहे हैं या अपने प्रशासन को दे रहे हैं? किस तरह से आप लोग आगे बढ़ रहे हैं? क्या कुछ आपके पास रोड मैप है अभी आप लोगों का?
हम लोगों ने जो सेकंड फेज था वो एक मॉडिफाइड लॉकडाउन था, तो नगर निगम की जो सीमाओं के बाहर कारखाने, फैक्ट्रीज थी, उनको हमने चलने की परमिशन दे रखी है, अगर लेबर और वर्कर वहीं पर रहते हैं। खेती बाड़ी में फसल की कटाई चल रही है, सबको छूट है, मंडियों में लोग अपना अनाज बेच सकते हैं, तो हमने काफ़ी कुछ ढील दी है। लेकिन जो कंटेनमेंट जोन्स हैं, जो रेड जोन्स हैं, जहाँ पर काफ़ी इन्फेक्शन फैल रहा है, क्योंकि वो संख्या कम नहीं हो रही है, हम लोग अभी पीक तक नहीं पहुँचे हैं, लगातार संख्याएँ बढ़ रही हैं। सारी कोशिशों के बावजूद भी अगर संक्रमण फैल रहा है तो हम लोग कोई भी लापरवाही मैं समझता हूँ करने की स्थिति में नहीं है। लेकिन जो 4 तारीख के बाद का जो समय है उसके लिए जो भारत सरकार की गाइडलाइंस हैं वो बड़ी विस्तृत हैं, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं हो कि इतना ज़्यादा कन्फ्यूजन हो, रेड, ग्रीन, ऑरेंज में लोग कन्फ्यूज रहें, कौन सी दुकानें, कौन सा इलाका खुला रहेगा, नहीं रहेगा। हम चाहते हैं कि जिला प्रशासन, बिकॉज नोडल एजेंसी जिला मुख्यालय होता है, जिले के अधिकारी जो हमारे हैं उनको हम चाहते हैं कि वो बिल्कुल स्ट्रिक्टली उन गाइडलाइंस को फॉलो करें, और जहां पर हम ढील दे सकते हैं निश्चित रूप से देने की कोशिश करेंगे। लेकिन मैं फिर कहता हूं, रेखांकित करता हूं कि हम ढील दें और उसकी बाद में बहुत बड़ी कीमत चुकानी पड़े, वो किसी के लिए भी फायदेमंद नहीं होगा।
जी सचिन, आपने अपना समय दिया और हम उम्मीद यही करते हैं कि आपकी सरकार पूरी तरह से तैयार रहे और राजस्थान की जनता भी महफूज रहे। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमसे बात करने के लिए। हमारे साथ एक बेहद खास मेहमान दिव्या दत्ता जुड़ रही हैं, एक्ट्रेस हैं, मॉडल हैं, लेखिका हैं। दिव्या जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद अपना समय देने के लिए। आप अहम किरदारों में आपको देखा है लोगों ने, आपने लिखा भी है पर्यावरण के संदर्भ में। हमारे दर्शकों को आप अपनी जो कविता है साझा कीजिए।
तहे दिल से शुक्रिया, बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है आप सबसे रूबरू होकर। आई थिंक हम लोग सब ऐसे लॉकडाउन में बैठते हैं तो कुछ ख्यालात आते हैं कि जब भी वक्त सही होगा क्या हम कुछ सीख कर जाएंगे इसमें से। तो उसके लिए मैंने एक कविता लिखी थी, वो मैं आपको सुनाती हूँ। जब सब ठीक होगा ना तो ये तो करते रहेंगे। वो जो दोस्तों से हर तीसरे दिन वीडियो कॉल करते हैं, अपनी वो गप्पे वो रेसिपीज एक्सचेंज करते हैं, कहाँ मिलता है वो मौका भाग दौड़ की जिंदगी में, वो एक धमा चौकड़ी करते रहेंगे। जब सब ठीक होगा ना तो ये तो करते रहेंगे। वो घर पे पुरानी एल्बम देखकर एक साथ बचपन की यादें ताजा करना, वो टी शर्ट पजामे में आरडी बर्मन सुनते हुए मिलकर सफाइयां करना, वो मस्ती वो पिलो फाइट्स वो शरारत करते रहेंगे। जब सब ठीक होगा ना तो ये तो जरूर करते रहेंगे। वो जो हर छोटी चीज समेट रहे हैं घर की, अब जब बाई आएगी तो इस बार सब सफाई उस पर नहीं छोड़ेंगे। एक मदद का हाथ देंगे और उसके चेहरे पे वो मुस्कुराहट भरते रहेंगे। जब सब ठीक होगा ना तो ये तो करते रहेंगे। वो जो नीचे चौकीदार भैया हैं उनसे रोज का चाय नाश्ता पूछना, एक दुआ सलाम करना, वो घर से दूर है इसका एहसास कम करना, ये भी आते जाते करते रहेंगे। जब सब ठीक होगा ना तो ये तो करते रहेंगे। वो गली के कुत्तों को हाय हेलो करके रोटी देना, वो गाती हुई कोयल के बोल समझना, वो छत पर जाकर कौवों के लिए पानी रखना, रब की इस कायनात से दोस्ती करते रहेंगे। जो गलत कर दिया था हमने उसे ठीक करने का मौका मिला है, उस ठीक को हम और अच्छा करते रहेंगे। जब सब ठीक होगा ना तो ये तो करते रहेंगे।
That was a beautiful poem, and especially during the lockdown. I like that point that you made about jab sab theek ho jayega. Once your domestic help is back in the house, do lend a hand and do help out. As I know a lot of people have been talking about the work they've been doing during this lockdown. But Divya, clearly you've had a lot of time. You've been thinking about how life has slowed down right now, and it's also time for all of us to focus on the environment. Think about what changes we can make in our lifestyles and our lives going forward. It shouldn't be that we forget about this when jab sab theek ho jayega. We should not forget about this time that we've been through and these changes that we've seen in our environment and try and work towards that. And we've been talking about transport and how we should try and cycle more to work or just reduce our carbon footprint.
You know, the most amazing thing if you sit at home is you're seeing so many birds outside which you've probably missed all these years. You're only seeing aeroplanes. And now seeing an aeroplane is a rare sight, and you're seeing parrots, you're seeing sparrows, quail everywhere. I mean, where were they? They've just come back. I think it's God's way of telling us you need to coexist. You need to learn to coexist. We can't just take away everything from them. So I think when we get out, we need to do everything in balance, be it transportation, be it our constructions, be it anything, be it tree cutting, everything. I think we need to balance it up. So we will have to be very careful so that we all can beautifully coexist. Look at this. I mean, the balance of the universe is so evident, so apparent. It's right in front of our eyes. It's the clearest blue sky that we've ever seen. So I guess we need to learn our lessons here. We need to promise ourselves that everything is not for everyone else to do. It is our own duty to do our own thing ourselves.
Sure. Well, Divya, thank you so much for sharing that poem with us and your thoughts. Thanks very much indeed. We're joined by Lee Feldman. He's the co-founder of BYCS, an Amsterdam-based organization that has a mission to push cycles in our cities. Thanks very much, Lee, for being with us. I think it's fantastic to be able to bike as much as people, say, in Europe do. But what would you tell people in, say, India who would say that, look, it's so hot that we need to be practical? I mean, it's just too hot to cycle all the time. What is your answer to them?
Right. Well, the first thing is just understanding a little bit of the historical context of cycling in a place like Amsterdam, where I live. Almost 50 years ago, cars dominated, and the entire city was choked by cars, which meant that city planners leveled all the trees. They covered over the canals. They handed over the city to cars. And at that time, a few really active mothers mostly started to protest and said, this is enough. Cars are killing our children. They're killing us as we try to take our children to school. And that was the beginnings of the shift that happened to prioritize the bicycle as the primary mode. And ultimately what happened was cities started to give more space to bicycles and less space to cars. And what happened after that was, because bicycles take up less space than cars in cities, they were able to plant more trees. There were more greenways. The trees offered more shade. So, we don't have hot summers like you do in India. But, it does get hot here. It gets over 30 degrees, 35 degrees some days. And the trees offer some real shade. Now, if you have modern cities like you do in India that are completely paved over, that don't have a lot of tree cover, it is going to be very uncomfortable to ride your bicycles there. And so one thing I say is, make way for bicycles, make way for more shade giving, make way for a much more comfortable way of riding and being on a bicycle in cities.
Right, Lee. I think we have a lot more that we'd like to ask you, but I'd like to also now go across to Swati Tyagarajan, environment reporter and someone who's a former colleague of ours here at NDTV. And Swati, you've been reporting on the environment for decades. And, you always to report about how it's disturbing the environment, how it's going to come back, there are going to be repercussions. And I really feel this time with this pandemic, we should realize this. There are repercussions to the disturbance, that and the impact that we've had on the environment.
Absolutely, Gargi. And since you've done many of the stories with me, and we've spoken about this a lot, that is fact. So just from in the 5 weeks of lockdowns, just if you take India, for example, what you've seen, the Dhauladar is visible from Jalandhar, some part of the Himalayas visible from Saharanpur. The Ganga, the water in Rishikesh and Haridwar in certain areas have actually been certified as drinkable by the Pollution Control Board. The Yamuna in Delhi city flowing without that almost radioactive sludge on its surface. And blue skies, and your AQI showing you numbers of 25 and 30 for PM 2.5 when it should be over 100 at this time of the year. And we've seen properly hazardous air quality. And what that has shown very, very clearly is that industrial activity, number one, and our own human carbon footprint, these two factors have actually done all the damage that we see in a big way. So I think there is no more hiding behind any kind of excuses or any kind of we can't do this and we can't do that when it comes to really making your policy and your regulations and your law very, very strong when it comes to giving industries permissions, get your environmental clearances right, get your green clearances right, look at what the impact of projects going to have on the environment. There's no more hiding from that, because this is just way too evident that lax laws when it came to pollution control and pollution, and lax laws when it came to how industries functioned and how not much penalization happened, and also our own lifestyles. It's not just industry, it's us, urban lifestyles, the kind of damage we've caused. I don't think we can hide from that anymore. And I think, if anything, this should teach us that we have to have stringent laws in place which need to be followed to maintain these gains that we've made. Because if at the end of lockdown everybody rushes out of the gate like racehorses trying to make up for lost time, then we're going to be back to square one very, very quickly.
बिल्कुल स्वाति, आपने अपनी बातें हमसे शेयर करी, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। और आइए आगे बढ़ते हैं इस कार्यक्रम में, खास कार्यक्रम में। फिरोज़ा सुरेश, साइकिल मेयर मुंबई के हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं। फिरोज़ा, मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहती हूँ, what is the mindset, existing mindset of people in context to how people commute in urban cities in India?
So urban cities may clearly, there are three aspects. One is the elite. One is the middle class and the lower middle class and the underprivileged. Elite, probably travels by its personal vehicle or maybe shared mobility. And if you look at cycling, for him, cycling would be more of the leisure, probably for endurance or touring. And probably he could use an electric vehicle because he's got the disposable income for purchasing a little high-end bicycle and maybe electric vehicles for once in a while for commuting to work. The middle class, they are the ones who are using the public transport, and always the problem is the last mile connectivity for them. Once it's the crowded trains, and the last mile connectivity is always a problem. So the solution out there would be definitely to address last mile with public transportation, put more infrastructure or more funding where in the public transportation, because in Mumbai the mode share is 25% people travel by those crowded bus and trains. And the third, which is very, very crucial for us in Mumbai city, is the underprivileged, and those constitute a major chunk because they are the ones who use the livelihood bicycles. Okay, and that's an ecosystem which we need to maintain, because livelihood bicycles means the dabba wala, istri wala, the doodh wala, the cycle rickshaw in Delhi. Why aren't we nurturing that ecosystem? Because that's the huge cycling ecosystem which each and every city has, and they don't complain. They don't complain of the infrastructure. They don't complain about potholes. They don't complain about climates.
Right. So Firoza, let me ask you this. How would you respond to people who ask you that how can you be an avid cyclist in a city like Mumbai, which has so much traffic, where it's so dangerous to be cycling, and yet it's something you want to do? So how do you reconcile it all?
So in Mumbai, it's clear divide between an urban cyclist, and he uses a vehicle. He uses cycle for leisure activity, or maybe endurance or training for competition. And there are a whole set of people who use their cycle to work. I mean, specifically from home to office. Yeah, so as you rightly mentioned, people really are very concerned when it comes to traffic, because it's pretty much in Mumbai. Then, of course, the road accident. But if you see the statistics when it comes to road safety, and most of the accidents of a cyclist have happened in the leisure space, not in the commute space. The commute space, because the traffic itself is so slow, it's about 5 to 10 kilometers per hour. I mean, how can a possible motorized transportation can be a threat to a cyclist? I mean, we cycle the length and breadth of the Mumbai city, and never in a case where a dabba wala or a istri wala has been threatened by a motorized transportation, is fallen down and lost his life. So yeah, so that's what it is in the commute space when it comes to urban transport in urban cities.
बिल्कुल, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमसे बात करने के लिए फिरोज़ा सुरेश, और यही उम्मीद करते हैं कि ई साइकिल्स भी आएँ और जो आम हमारा नागरिक है वो अफोर्ड उसे कर सके और इस पे आगे बढ़ सके। हमारे साथ अब इस समय बेहद ख़ास मेहमान केंद्रीय मंत्री नितिन गडकरी मौजूद हैं। गडकरी जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आपने समय निकाला और एनडीटीवी के इस कार्यक्रम में आप जुड़े हैं। सर, हम जानते हैं कि जिस तरह से लॉकडाउन हुआ है, इंसान घर में बंद हो गया है, लेकिन जो हमारा पर्यावरण है वो बहुत सुंदर हो गया, अब वो हवा अच्छी हो गई है, पशु पक्षी हम खुले में नज़र आ रहे हैं, लेकिन अब ये बना रहे, ये समन्वय बना रहे, तभी इसको हम साइकिल ऑफ चेंज कह रहे हैं। आपसे जानना चाहेंगे कि साइकिल का ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा प्रयोग हो, क्या ये सरकार की नीति में शामिल हो सकता है?
नहीं, ये तो साइकिल तो बहुत अच्छी है, पर मैं आपको बताता हूं कि मैं बार बार पिछले 7-8 साल से बोल रहा हूं, इलेक्ट्रिक कार, इलेक्ट्रिक बस, इलेक्ट्रिक बाइक, ये पूरा ऑटोमोबाइल, बायोफ्यूल, इथेनॉल, मिथेनॉल, बायोडीजल, बायो सीएनजी, इलेक्ट्रिक। और आपको और एक बात बताता हूं, केवल पोल्यूशन नहीं कम हुआ, हमारे देश में 5 लाख एक्सीडेंट होते थे, 1.5 लाख मौतें होती है, इस महीने में वो परसेंटेज एकदम गिर गया। वैसे हमने भी बीच में नया एक्ट लाया, हमने ब्लैक स्पॉट भी इंप्रूव किया है, और उसमें ये जो पोजीशन आई, इसमें मरने वालों की संख्या एकदम कम हुई है। अब ये देखो, ये आश्चर्यकारक डाटा है कि जो कोरोना में मरे वो पकड़ने के बाद में भी मरने वाले लोगों का जो परसेंटेज है एकदम कम हुआ है, क्योंकि एक्सीडेंट्स के कारण लगभग अब लोगों की मृत्यु नहीं हो रही है। तो मुझे लगता है हमारी सोसाइटी को बनाने के लिए, अच्छा बनाने के लिए इथिक्स, इकोनॉमी, इकोलॉजी एंड इन्वायरमेंट, ये तीनों का समन्वय के साथ ये एक अच्छी बात हुई है और पर्यावरण का भी महत्व हमारे ध्यान में आया है। तो मुझे लगता है कि आने वाले समय में निश्चित रूप से हमको हमारा पर्यावरण साफ रहे, अच्छा रहे, शुद्ध हवा रहे, इस दृष्टि से इस बात का जरूर विचार करना होगा।
जी सर, आपने एक्सीडेंट्स की बात करी है, एंड राइट नाउ द बिगेस्ट रिस्क दैट टू टेक टू द रोड्स ऑन अ साइकिल इज इट्स नॉट साइकिल फ्रेंडली. इन फैक्ट दैट्स व्हाई मोस्ट पेरेंट्स वोंट वांट टू सेंड आउट देयर चिल्ड्रन साइकिलिंग ऑन द रोड्स. तो पॉलिसी के तौर पे आपकी मिनिस्ट्री इसके बारे में क्या कर सकती है?
देखो, आपने ये कठिन काम है. दिल्ली मेरठ हमारा एक्सप्रेस हाईवे बन रहा है और उस हाईवे के बाजू में एक छोटी सी हमने साइकिल के लिए कोशिश की है कि एक लाइन है. मैं तो एज ए ट्रांसपोर्ट मिनिस्टर ये चाहता हूं कि साइकिल को हमने और उठाना चाहिए. अब इलेक्ट्रिक साइकिल भी मार्केट में आई है जो 350 किलोमीटर एक चार्ज में चलती है, सस्ती है. और धीरे धीरे हमको ट्रांसपोर्ट के हमारे पूरे एटीट्यूड को बदलना पड़ेगा. पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट ऑन इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट ऑन बायोफ्यूल, डीजल के बजाय, पेट्रोल के बजाय इलेक्ट्रिक, इथेनॉल, मिथेनॉल, बायोडीजल, बायो सीएनजी, इलेक्ट्रिक. और मैं आपको सबसे बड़ी बात बता रहा हूं एनडीटीवी में कि ये जो आप परेली जलती है ना दिल्ली के आसपास, पंजाब, हरियाणा और उत्तर प्रदेश में, अब परेली से बायो सीएनजी तैयार करने की टेक्नोलॉजी आई. वो काम शुरू हो गया. खुद मैंने भी अपने यहाँ बायो सीएनजी बनाया है और उस पर ट्रक और बसेस चल रही है. तो ये अब दिल्ली में भी ऐसे कम से कम 1000 एक इंडस्ट्री उत्तर प्रदेश, हरियाणा और पंजाब में आएगी. परेली जलेगी नहीं, उल्टा उससे बायो सीएनजी बनेगा और हमारा इंपोर्ट कम होगा और प्रदूषण भी कम होगा.
Gadkari ji, thank you so much for sharing those thoughts with us. Joining us now, Aditya Munjali is the director of Hero Cycles and the CEO of Electro E-Mobility Private Limited. Thanks very much, Aditya, for being with us. What is the potential of e-cycles in India, and how would it actually help an entire group of people cycle? Because there are people who may be elderly, who may not be able to cycle using normal cycles. It's also quite efficient, cost effective in the long run. How can it help lakhs of people in our cities?
Okay. When it comes to sustainability, our group's vision is to create a revolution with sustainable mobility. For the last 60 years, we've been transporting millions of people across urban and rural India. Our new innovation has been the e-cycle, as you just mentioned. It is the most affordable electric vehicle, which is agile, has all the benefits of a cycle, and it gives you the ease of commute. So, as an organization, as these times where we are seeing a silver lining, we are seeing nature scream out for change. We feel this is the next revolution, which is going to cause mobility at scale and which is going to create a more sustainable environment.
मिस्टर मुंजाल, मुझे आपसे ये पूछना था, जिस तरह से ई साइकिल की बात हो रही है, हमारे देश पे छोटे छोटे कदम उठाने होंगे, क्योंकि ये मास जो हमारा जो लेबर क्लास है, जो समाज का बिल्कुल निचला वर्ग है, वो साइकिल को यूज़ करता है. लेकिन अगर ई साइकिल को हमें ज़्यादा प्रचलित बनाना है, उसके लिए क्या कदम उठाए जा सकते हैं, ख़ासतौर से जो हम कोरोना के समय में चल रहे हैं? क्या ई कॉमर्स में, ख़ासतौर से जो फूड डिलीवरी प्लेटफॉर्म में इसका इस्तेमाल किया जा सकता है एक कदम के तौर पर, जो एटलीस्ट जल्दी खाना भी पहुँचा दे और इसका प्रयोग भी हो जाए?
हाँ जी, बिल्कुल. So, हमारी e-cycle is available across urban and rural India. It starts at a base value of 20,000 rupees. We have e-cycles curated for food delivery, as you just mentioned. We've created further electric vehicles for e-commerce delivery. So, e-commerce food delivery itself, जो आप बात कर रहे हो, there is almost 1 million vehicles which are combustion engine. So most definitely electric vehicles will come in this space and create a more sustainable environment. So to answer your question in a short way, yes, there is a use case, and we are already seeing in urban India delivery boys use this product for food delivery.
All right, Aditya, I also wanted to ask you about cycle sharing, and this is something we've seen which is extremely popular in China, and do you think it's something that could be popularized in our cities?
This is sharing as a concept is across all industries, be it offices, be it houses, be it different products. So sharing in itself is a very powerful concept where people don't want to spend the capital cost. They just want to spend as per usage. Post-COVID, there's going to be a challenge because it's used by many people. So now this industry will need to be innovative, but I'm very optimistic about sharing as a concept.
All right, Mr. Munjal, thank you very much for sharing those thoughts with us. Yes, e-cycles, very much the future. The question is, how soon will this become a part and parcel of our lives? Well, somebody who does cycle a great deal is Dr. Utkal. He's a diabetologist from Bhubaneswar and a cycling enthusiast. He's set up a cycling club. Doctor, thanks very much for being with us. How much do you cycle, and how much is it something that's had huge benefits in your own life?
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. I do cycle almost last month I've done 1,000 kilometers in a month, in 1 month. And almost 50 kilometers a day I do ride, and that has impacted on myself, on my patients as well. And because when I cycle, I can feel the rhythm in me. I become like stress free. I can keep myself fit, and that reflects on my patients. When they come to my chamber, they see me and they see a fitter doctor. Definitely a fitter doctor advising a patient to do cycling and exercise, and a non-fit or an obese doctor advising, that makes a huge difference.
All right, Dr. Utkal, I also believe that you make all your patients also take to cycling, so that's a great effort there. Thank you so much for speaking to us. We can now go across to Umesh Malik, Vice President of Public Affairs and Communications at Hindustan Coca-Cola, and also Ashu Malik, and both of you are cycling enthusiasts, and today we're talking about how we can, improve our lifestyles, have cleaner lifestyles, post the lockdown lifting. What do you think needs to be done to popularize cycling, and also how challenging is it given, the environment we have, hot summers, and also the fact that our roads are not very cycle friendly?
I think this is a very relevant question. I would say that cycling is the in thing as far as the future of environment protection is concerned. We should encourage cycling as much as possible, and I would give credit to NDTV to take this initiative to start this discussion first of all. I think cycling is as far as I'm concerned, it's my passion. I've been doing it for the last 10 years almost, and I've got all types of bikes, road bikes, speed bikes, and stuff like that. What I would say is that if we have proper control on the traffic, pollution is another issue. I'll just give you one example. Once I was riding on the Gurgaon-Faridabad road at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I must be riding at the speed of 50 kilometers an hour. And I was on my own and not even looking ahead of me on the road. And suddenly a Maruti car came in front, and I just barely got saved. So this is the kind of risk that we are prone to when we are cycling on the road. So I must say that there has to be an awareness that has to be created amongst the people who are not riding but on the road, driving their vehicles. It has to be a separate lane if possible, and of course a general awareness on the health benefits of cycling is what I would want to say.
बिल्कुल। आशु जी, मैं आपसे अगर पूछ लूँ, मैं आपसे समझना चाहूँगी कि क्या पॉलिसी चेंजेस सरकार ला सकती है? हमने सबने देखा कि जिस तरह से लॉकडाउन है, अगर सरकार लाई तो लोग उसका पालन कर रहे हैं। हम देख रहे हैं पुलिस उसको देख रही है कि सुनिश्चितता से वो पालन उसका किया जा रहा है कि नहीं। ये साइकिलिंग, हमारे साइकिलिस्ट्स चल सके आराम से, रोड्स हमारी बेहतर हो सकें, या ट्रैफिक मैनेजमेंट जिस तरह से उमेश जी कह रहे थे, क्या पॉलिसी चेंजेस होने चाहिए कि हम साइकिल को अपने जीवन का ज़्यादा मात्रा में हिस्सा बना लें?
बिल्कुल, एंड स्पेशली मैं ये कहूँगी कि शॉर्ट डिस्टेंसेस के लिए तो हमें मैक्सिमम टाइम साइकिल ही लेकर जाना चाहिए, जो हेल्थ के लिए बहुत ही अच्छी भी रहेगी, एंड उससे पॉल्यूशन भी हम कंट्रोल कर पाएंगे। हेलो,
All right. Well, thank you both very much for sharing those thoughts with us, and for believing in getting out there and exercising as much as you do. Somebody else who's completely inspired about exercising, particularly in these times, is Vesna Jacob. She's a Pilates expert and a fitness trainer. Vesna, the last couple of weeks, have these been moments of opportunity for you to get out there and exercise more? I mean, within the confines of your home, perhaps get on to Zoom or Skype and train people through that. Is this something that's going to be more frequent, where people get online to exercise?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me, and I hope everyone at home is safe. See, everything in life can be looked from the perspective of the disaster, of a disruption, or as an opportunity to create something better under the circumstances. So I choose obviously the latter, and while fitness is my life, it keeps me sane, it keeps me centered, it keeps me grounded, it keeps me fit and pain-free. So there is nothing to lose and no reason why I shouldn't continue doing that, and why I shouldn't be spreading that message. So we have shifted all the sessions online, using pretty much every platform and any platform that is available right now. At the same time, we are doing a lot of content through Facebook, through Instagram as well, just trying to create an awareness. Because I believe that even if, let's say, lockdown is to stop tomorrow, there is something as a fear and anxiety which has already taken root into people's subconsciousness, and that is going to take a while before people feel comfortable and confident enough to start venturing out and going to the studios and places of exercise.
Right. In fact, Vesna, I wanted to ask you about this, because we're talking about a healthy body and exercising and, maintaining a fit lifestyle and a clean lifestyle post the lockdown lifting. But yes, there's been a lot of impact on mental health as well. And what have you seen, in these days? And you've been interacting with people online, of course. There's been a lot of anxiety, even depression, and a lot of people very worried about the future.
Absolutely, and rightly so. And rightly so, because this is the time of the great disturbance. It is unprecedented in our living history, right? In the last 100 years, there hasn't been a situation like this. So, and all of this is taking a toll. Therefore, I promote and stand and have always been doing the integrated and holistic approach to fitness, which means that our physical body is the only visible aspect of ourselves. However, it is manifestation and it is influenced without mental health, with our emotional health and spiritual health. So there is a huge impact that we are still not even, it's going to be almost as a post-traumatic stress, because the life as you know it is going to change. The job situation is going to change. The way we go about the travel, everything is going to change. And right now, we are under the acute stress, which means that we are like running the race. So we are tucked in, everybody's on board, we are all. And at the same time, at one moment when we are feeling that pressure, so unless we find outlet, and for me that is combination of breathwork, meditation and fitness, it's going to be very, very difficult to stay calm and centered in this environment.
बिल्कुल वैसे आपने सही बात बिल्कुल कही है कि इस दौर में जो हमारी एक्सरसाइजेज हैं और मेडिटेशन है बहुत काम आ रही हैं। आइए आगे बढ़ते हैं। श्रेया सरन, एक्ट्रेस मॉडल, हमारे साथ जुड़ चुकी हैं। श्रेया, अगर मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहूँगी, इस लॉकडाउन के दौरान क्या अनुभव थे जो आप हमारे दर्शकों से शेयर करेंगी, और आगे जब ये हटेगा क्या आपके जीवन में चेंजेस आए?
आई थिंक पहली बात जो मैंने सीखी अपने बारे में कि बहुत ज्यादा नहीं चाहिए होता है खुश होने के लिए. Little is enough. And then I realized that there's so many people who are suffering right now, especially daily wage workers and laborers right now. But then I saw some lovely videos of the small little gestures of cops just taking a little cake for a very old man on his birthday, and how healthcare workers are doing so much, and that filled me with so much happiness that I needed to do something for myself. That is, stay happy and stay calm, and just believe in my just stay calm. And if you can stay at home, please stay at home right now. That's all I kept telling through my page, my Instagram.
Right. Shreya, you talked about how during this time of quarantine, this time of lockdown, you've realized we can all do with very little. We don't need as much as we think we do. Do you think these are habits? Do you think this would stay with us going forward once the lockdown lifts? We're also all appreciating the clean air, the clean water, where we're telling ourselves we're going to do more to maintain this, to help the environment. But do you really think this is going to bring about a change in people, or is it after 6 months we'll just be back to normal?
I hope we don't do that. To be honest, I mean, we saw dolphins and sea life coming back. Then I was reading Ganga is pure right now. You can actually drink the water from there. Especially यहाँ पे India में Delhi has become very clean and clear now. It's really good for all of us. I hope how much ever we can do to maintain this, and how much ever we can do to keep our environment clean. It's really important. और कहीं ना कहीं हमारे लिए एक lesson भी था to understand ourselves and to not to protect the Mother Earth a little more.
श्रेया, आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा था कि इस जीवन के लिए ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं चाहिए होता, लेकिन जो आपकी फिल्म इंडस्ट्री है, तमाम हमारे उद्योग हैं, इंडस्ट्रीज़ हैं, रुकी पड़ी हैं, लेकिन फिल्म इंडस्ट्री ऐसी है जिसमें सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग मेंटेन करना बहुत मुश्किल होगा। वो कैसे शुरू होगी? क्या आपकी सोच है? क्या चिंताएं हैं?
देखिए, फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट लोग होते हैं लाइटमैन, कैमरामैन और स्पॉट बॉय। सबसे पहले तो उनका दे एक्चुअली लिटरली हमारी इंडस्ट्री की डेली वेज वर्कर्स, जो उनको रोज पगार मिलती है और वही उसी तरह से वो जीते हैं। एंड फॉर देम इट्स अ बिग प्रॉब्लम, बट वी हैव टू गेट बैक टू शूटिंग समहाउ। आई थिंक वी विल हैव टू create a process, social distancing, somehow manage to do it. पर जब तक मेरे ख्याल से वैक्सीन नहीं आ जाएगी और you don't know how to cure and how to prevent, I think it might be a little difficult to get back again. But I hope जल्दी हो जाए ये सब, जल्दी।
No, we do as well, Shreya. We really do, because time is absolutely of the essence.
Yeah.
Time is so much of the essence.
It's important.
Shreya,
I hope this all gets over soon.
Yes, let's hope it does. Thank you so much for joining us. We're very privileged to have somebody who I read and studied in university more than 25 years back. She's an inspiration to so many people around the world. It's always such a privilege to interview Vandana Shiva, who joins us now, an environmental activist par excellence, an anti-globalization author, and somebody whose views on the road ahead are valuable for all of us. Ms. Shiva, would you say that until the environment becomes a political issue in this country, there can never be any profound change, not in the way that we want it?
Well, the corona has made it a political issue, and it is an environmental issue. After all, the 300 new pathogens that have impacted humanity in the last half century, which is the lifetime of my activism, have all come from deforestation. They are basically spillovers. Even in our own case, the destruction of the Western Ghats led to the monkey disease, the Kiasna root disease, the Ebola virus, the MERS virus, the SARS, and how from the bats it moved to humans. That is the big debate. Someone says Wuhan lab, someone else says something. But the point is, corona is a result of invasion into forest ecosystems. And if we are able to sacrifice lives and livelihoods of millions of people, that's a political issue. It's just that we have become blind. We are a country that has a civilization that thinks in broadness, in holistic terms. The corona is an ecological issue and it is a political issue. But there is, of course, the quietening by the lockdown. And so we talk about the blue waters and the blue skies, and animals roaming the streets.
हमारे साथ अगली मेहमान जुड़ गई हैं सत्या संकरन, साइकिल मेयर बेंगलुरु की हमारे साथ यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं। मैं सर आपसे यही जानना चाहूँगी कि साइकिल एक ऐसा व्हीकल है जो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग इस्तेमाल करें और हमारा जो ज़मीनी तबका है वो तो करता है, लेकिन जब बड़े लोग आप जैसे मेयर लोग इस्तेमाल करते हैं तो वो एक संदेश भी देता है। कैसे ये ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा प्रयोग में लाए साइकिल को?
See, I don't think we should reduce the effect of cycles in the cities to what the earlier panelists have said. It's very important today. It's going to be the future because half of India's population lives in cities, and we can't brush off cities as an insignificant effort to climate change. Its reduction is to bracket it as just a civic issue because 40% of air pollution in cities are caused by tailpipe emissions. So cycling today can improve health of the people because motor vehicles are leading to increased levels of stress hormones, poor air quality, the productivity of employees is going down, and cycling can improve not only the health, it keeps COVID away and it can kickstart your economy. This is what we want today. This is what the country is looking for, and it's getting everything. But getting people on bicycles is a public change-making thing. Unlike the corporate change management, this requires persistence, awareness, icons, using policy windows like the one we have now. So we need to include all of this. In fact, Bengaluru police yesterday have shown the way by allowing cycling during the lockdown. It's probably the first in the country which has given cyclists respect in these times. It's kudos to them. I think the MHA also needs to follow this and issue guidelines about cycling. There is no mention of cycling. Employers in the cities are also being conservative. They need to capitalize on such opportunities.
All right, Mr. Sankaran, do just stay on with us and we'll discuss more about how we can push cycling. But we have Vandana Shiva also back with us. Ma'am, you were talking about how a lot of, the talk these days is about how the air is clean, it's looking cleaner, the rivers are looking cleaner. But this is not enough, that we need to, this is a wake-up call to us all. And this is a time for us to change the way we function, to be more self-reliant, to, change our agricultural habits as well. It's time to bring about major changes in the way we develop.
Absolutely. And the same system that has led to invasion of the Amazon for soya bean and invasion of the Indonesian forest for palm oil, which are bad oils, have also led to chronic diseases. And chronic diseases amplify the mortality of COVID by a factor of 10. If you look at who, the Bhopal victims are the people dying of COVID. The cancer alley, the diabetes victims, the cancer victims. So ecology means seeing the interconnections. We need to see the interconnections of the destruction of the earth in terms of rise of pandemics. We need to see the destruction of our health by an agriculture that should never have existed. And my work in Navdanya has shown we can feed 2 times India's population if we protect diversity. And I would request the government to not give clearances to create future floods, future pandemics, and destroy what remains of our little bits of forest. I think it is wrong that the Environment Minister has been giving virtual approvals for very big projects up in Dimang Valley, up in the Western Ghats. We need to assess all of this together. That's why policies are supposed to evolve with a balance, and ease of living is what the corona has got us all locked down for. It's time to make ease of living and ease of health and ease of livelihood the primary policy function, not ease of doing short-term business while we spread new diseases, make millions, half of India could lose its livelihood if we do not shift from fossil fuels and chemicals to an agriculture that invites the displaced people from the cities back to the land. The rejuvenation of India through a rural India in Gandhi's vision is the only way we will have a future. Otherwise, multiple crises are going to destroy
No,
us.
absolutely, ma'am. I can't agree more. And we've seen the climate acting up so much in the past. It's time we get serious about this and we really take it upon ourselves to make a change. Thanks, ma'am, very much for being with us. I just
want to show you this. These are hailstorms up in the mountains that have devastated agriculture. This is climate change. We only think of climate change as heating. Climate change is climate chaos, and it's killing people.
Absolutely. It affects different people in different areas in different ways. Absolutely, ma'am. Point taken. Thank you so much for sharing that and reminding us of that again. Let me go back to Satya Shankaran, the cycle mayor of Bengaluru. Mr. Shankaran, the problem really lies, as far as cycling in our cities is concerned, with the way roads are built, the way roads are structured. These are not bicycle friendly. If anything, these are designed to ultimately end up potentially hurting people who decide to get out. So as part of your efforts in the city of Bengaluru, what are you trying to do to encourage the government to make roads bicycle friendly?
We already did that. The recent comprehensive mobility plan that the state government put out, it planned for 175 kilometers in 15 years, which is totally insignificant. Right. We went and asked for 2,000 kilometers, and I think they've agreed to something in between. So the infrastructure is terrible, and it is required. But let's not underestimate the fact that our addiction to energy-intensive forms of communication, as you can see from a lot of panelists, don't seem to think that cycling is a solution. I think it requires a mindset. It requires a different mindset in understanding what this means for our cities and why such dense cities, which are the economic engines, are perfectly capable of hosting cycling as a last mile to improve public transport and as complete trips, because they're built that way. It will avoid sprawl. It will keep us tight, and it will keep the economic going. And infrastructure is a big part of it. I definitely agree with that.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Sankaran, for joining us. And you're talking about these issues and these challenges and making our cities more cycle friendly. And no one better to talk about this. We have Geetam Tiwari, Professor, Department of Civil Engineering from IIT Delhi. And ma'am, this is an issue that you are working with on about how to make our cities cleaner and greener cities in terms of that people can actually cycle better. We have better infrastructure in these cities. What do you see as the challenges ahead, and what have you faced in terms of speaking to authorities about this?
So it's not just about greening the city, it is also about safety of people who are already using green modes. Because actually when we look at our data, we find that even in a city like Delhi, where the roads are really hostile for pedestrians and bicycles, we still have about 13 to 15% of the trips on bicycles. So this is something that we have been working on for almost, I would say, last 2 decades. And I remember in 1997, we presented a plan to the government. It was called the Bicycle Master Plan for Delhi. And the whole proposal was that how the current roads, we have enough opportunities in our current roads to make them bicycle friendly. And this whole idea about that, we have to change mindset, etc. I think for me, that is secondary, because I think one of the participants in your program a while ago discussed the issue of safety. And today, if we go out on our ring roads, on our major arterial roads, the roads are so hostile for bicyclists that, in fact, the risk faced by bicyclists is really high only after pedestrians and motorized two-wheelers. So how to make it safe? I think the mindset has to come from policymakers and from our decision makers. Because in terms of engineering aspect, in terms of availability of space, in terms of know-how, it is possible to do it. Why are we not able to do it? We often come across 2 major arguments. Number one, we don't have enough road space. And why do we not have enough road space? Because of increasing number of cars. And today we are seeing that how if the number of vehicles are reduced on the roads, of course, we always expected for air to become cleaner and safety aspect to improve. But are we willing to do this under non-pandemic situation when we are not put through this emergency situation? I think that is a major challenge.
बिल्कुल गीतम जी, जो दिल्ली का बीआरटी सिस्टम आया था उसमें आपका बहुत योगदान था. आपको लगता है कि वो वे अहेड ऑफ टाइम था, समय से पहले ही आ गया? अगर अब होता बीआरटी और जिस तरह से उसमें साइकिल के लिए जगह थी, वो उसका लोग बहुत स्वागत करते और अब भी उसको एक तरीके से थोड़ा बदलाव के साथ लागू किया जा सकता है.
देखिए, आपने तो बिल्कुल मेरे मन की बात कह दी ये हम लोग बहुत दिनों से इस बात की हम लोग आपस में चर्चा करते थे कि दैट कॉन्सेप्ट वाज मे बी 20 years ahead of its time. एंड हम लोग बिल्कुल थक गए थे इस बात को समझाते समझाते कि वो एक सिर्फ बस की बात नहीं थी, वो पूरे रोड को कैसे ऑर्गेनाइज किया जा सकता है, जिसमें कि पैदल चलने वालों की व्यवस्था है, जिसमें साइकिल चलने वालों की जगह है, और जिसमें फिर बस सहूलियत से चल सकती है। और सिर्फ बस नहीं, आपकी इमरजेंसी व्हीकल्स, एम्बुलेंस, फायर, पुलिस, इन सब की सहूलियत थी। क्योंकि अब जैसे हमने इतने सालों में देखा, कार के लिए आप 4 लेन दें या 6 लेन, वो तो भर जाती हैं। तो मेरे विचार से ये बिल्कुल आपका सही कहना है कि दिस इज द राइट टाइम, और हम लोगों को इस बात पे अथॉरिटीज और डिसीजन मेकर्स को इस बात को बताना चाहिए कि ये हमारे पास एक अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटी है, और हमें इसका पूरा प्लान बनाकर कि अगले 5 साल में, आप इमीडिएटली मत करिए, बट धीरे धीरे 5 साल में पूरा हम नेटवर्क कैसे तैयार कर सकते हैं जिसमें कि बाइसिकल चलने वालों को सहूलियत हो, जिसमें पैदल चलने वालों को सहूलियत हो और उनका रिस्क कम हो जाए। अभी आप देखिए दिल्ली में कम से कम 1000 लोग हर साल जो ट्रैफिक क्रैशेस में मरते हैं वो पेडेस्ट्रियंस होते हैं।
But Professor Tiwari, let me ask you this. You know, when the concept of the original BRT, the bus road concept was actually drawn up, there was a cycling lane in Delhi which was there. There was something for motorcycles and scooters, for cars and for buses as well. But were you constrained by the fact that for a BRT to properly work, you needed to do a lot more? For example, underpasses at places where there were 4 or 5 way red lights. For example, under the Mulchand flyover and elsewhere. The fact that there wasn't, or the Chirag Delhi flyover, there wasn't money perhaps or a willingness to actually do it the whole hog, that a BRT needed freedom of movement which wasn't there given the volume of traffic. And if that wasn't allowed, then everything fell by the wayside.
So I would actually, my understanding of that situation is that it's really not about money. I would say it is still about a priority. And if we are making a system where we said that if public transport, bicycle and pedestrian is a priority, then I think the system has been extremely successful. And you look at all the reports which came out, buses had huge benefits. People using buses, even in that small segment, had huge benefits. Buses were not getting stuck in congestion. Ambulance was not getting stuck in congestion. So where was the problem? I think the whole focus was on that we make a bus lane, but we are looking for benefits to the car users. And of course, cars were delayed. Cars were facing problems.
Right. So perhaps it's the way we went about it, and in terms of the mindset problems which exist. I take your point entirely, ma'am. I'd like to thank you very much for sharing those views. I think the architecture of our roads is so important, particularly when we also talk about cycles and the future. Well, we're out of time. That's all in this special show, Hero Cycles NDTV, the cycle of change. We'd like to thank the CEO, Rohit Gothi, and Ashkar Ali, the Group Head of Corporate Affairs, and of course the entire team of Hero Cycles who work with Team NDTV to make this program possible. And from Nidhi and Gargi and all of us over here, goodbye.
Thanks for watching. Goodbye.